when the summer starts its blooming. I break down on my walls, convince everyone I won't darken the room. I'm dancing with a charm, apprehending all the ladies and their blades.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the TF Cast. I'm Willis.
Hey, Grum here. It is the 1st of November here in the Solarium.
And I am your host, Jacob Basis, here again holding the new Golden Hour Live Volume 2 LP. And we are going to listen to that, tell some stories. And we got Colin Scharf right here, Goldmine Studios. Tell us the first thing we need to know. This is the new one, right?
This is the one. Yeah, thanks. And thanks again, guys, for having me on the show. I am excited to chat about this. I'm just excited for it to be out in the world. And when I say it, I mean, obviously, the LP, the Golden Hour Live Volume 2 compilation of local musicians. Let's see. This album is the product of a lot of work and a lot of like behind the scenes stuff. I mean, you guys are super familiar with all the effort it takes to actually give birth to something like along these lines. And I'm just kind of stunned, I guess, in a way that it's actually sitting right here in front of me and that people are going to be able to like hear it. I've lived with these songs for, over about a year now. So again, thanks for having me on to talk about the project here.
Yeah, well, it's been quite the long time coming too. I mean, you mentioned it, but these were shows that took place over the course of this last summer, or was this from the This is
So I guess, do you want like? I'll
why
see if
don't
I
you
can
just intro the record at least.
Yeah. So I started the Golden Hour concert series in 2021. We can talk about that later because it's a long-ish story. And then in 2022, our sponsor, KMSU, they sponsored the first year as well. The second year, they gave us a little more sponsorship funding with the stipulation that we record every show so that they could, play the shows on the radio station. And right away, I was like, oh, well, if we record everything, I could cut, take tracks from each band's performance and we can make a compilation album. And then that would be like a really, really cool thing. And so that's kind of how this came to be. Yeah. But we would not have been able to actually see it through if it weren't for some hefty and generous donations from community members and some other organizations. Yeah.
And so this record takes a song from each of the shows, or
correct?
What's the
yeah. So yep. So the whole design of the Golden Hour concert series is that. I guess I can get into like the original kickoff or the first show, the first series in 2021. Dan Dinsmore from the Wine Cafe, the owner of the cafe, he had approached me. This was coming out of COVID, right? This is like the first summer, after the whole lockdown and everything. And he approached me. Well, I should say he approached me in the spring of 21 about, hey, he said, I want to book big shows at the Wine Cafe. I want to get like big name acts down here. I want to really celebrate and just kind of, basically throw good parties and then also like get some money back into the cafe because obviously they took over in November of 2019.
Oof, tough time for all that.
Yeah, exactly. So initially I was like, okay, sure, we can do that. And then I talked to a friend of mine named Scott Laguerre. And Scott said, we just spent the past year in lockdown without any stages for your musicians, whatever. Like what you should do, he said, is go local, go hyper local, focus on your community. And I was like, okay, that sounds a little more doable than like booking, I don't know, like big Twin Cities acts or whatever. So Scott suggested just about everything that I did for the first year's concert series. He had sort of suggested some of the things, and I took it and ran. And so the design of the concert series the first series was 8 days in July and August of 2021. And I booked 8 bands, and then I had each band book an opener for them, right? So it was sort of like the heavy hitter bands, all the bands that sort of had been really working hard up until the pandemic. I booked them, and then they booked their openers. And then I've carried that design through through all 3 seasons so far. So this this album is the second year. This is 2022's concert series, and it's 13 tracks because there were 14 shows, and one group wasn't able to be on the comp. And so, yeah, one song from each band, and there they are on the record.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah, then that was Kaleb, friend of the show. I'm not going to say friend of the show anymore today because like 80% of these people have been on the show. So this album is a friend of the show.
Yeah, the album is a friend of the show.
That's some good math, yeah.
Yeah, that was Kaleb with "Some Days a Long Time." You want to listen to another one of these off side A?
Sure. It looks like we're in the middle of track 2, which is Torrid Forest.
Yeah.
Should we bring that up?
Yeah,
and
bring
see
it
where
in.
we're at?
You're pushing it in. You blood it up. Look yourself in the eye. Are you satisfied? Rising up from what once
How did
was
you
me.
how did you come to determine which tracks you were going to use?
I really just kind of, so, I mean, obviously you guys are very familiar with like doing live recordings and all that stuff. So, but I guess for maybe the viewer, right? I'm kind of looking at the camera here. It was pretty rudimentary the first year, the year that we did it for this year. I had my laptop, via USB, right? Via a USB cable plugged into our like 16 channel digital mixer. And I just hit record at the top of the show. Shows always started at 7:00. So it was like 6:58. I'd hit record on the laptop, cross my fingers that nothing would like blow up or, whatever. The laptop was like on a stand inside of a box. I can't believe this, like that it actually worked. You know what I mean? It was like very sort of, like not a great setup.
There's a lot of points of failure.
There were a lot of points of failure, correct. And then, so I hit record, and basically, first band played for about 45 minutes. Second band would play for, about an hour. So I'd have, roughly roundabouts of 2 hours worth of recorded material per session. And then I just honestly, just dropped the needle, so to speak, in my recording software, Logic. Press play. Okay, this one's kind of long. This one's not really doing it for me. Ooh, this one's really cool. Ooh, this one's great. And I just kind of just picked the songs that way. There was no rhyme or reason to it. Yeah.
He actually had to talk us into using the track that we put on it.
Yeah, you told me about that. That's on. I think that's on side.
That's
B.
on the second side.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we can get into that
Yeah.
particular story when we flip it, I think. But yeah, actually, I was just wrong about this. For some reason, I thought that I didn't realize that this was a year back.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. So this is last year's compilation, and then this year we recorded every show again, and so I'm currently sitting on 12 live performances from the 12 bands that played the 2023 series. Really, really hoping to kind of make it like something that like sort of feeds itself. So when we and I can kind of get into we're not technically selling these. It's a long story. But we're hoping that the records, the funds that come in for the sales of each of the records are able to generate the next year's.
Sure. So where can people get them if they just want to hear this? Because this is cool. I mean, this is just 100% local music on an LP.
Yeah.
And it's got photos and stuff.
Yeah.
inside.
We'll have to open up the cover art in here.
Yeah,
in a minute.
I can do it right
Sure.
now. You won't really see, but you do get one photo of me in here. So if you don't have any photos of me in your home, this is a chance.
A bunch of the photos were photos I had taken. I was like not unofficially hired to come to as many as I could kind of thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
One of them in there I have printed and sold.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. What was the question? The question was,
Oh yeah, how do people get their hands on
They
this
get their
thing?
hands on it by coming to the Carnegie Arts Center on Saturday, November 4th. Will this be out by then?
Oh yeah, I'll get it out before
Okay,
then.
cool. So you come to the Carnegie Arts
Wait.
Center. Yes.
Yeah, it will.
This Saturday.
This Saturday.
We are 4 days from today. Is that
We'll
how many
do a
days?
quick
Saturday is?
release.
Yeah. Come to the Carnegie. We're having an album release party from 7 to about 9 o'clock. We have some other sort of, I keep wanting to use the word artifacts from the previous concert series that will be on display there, as well as obviously the album will be available. And I kind of mentioned we're not selling this record per some of the per some of the like ways that it was all funded and produced, we're technically accepting donations to the concert series, and then this is the album and the
it's like a
stickers that we made and the fun T-shirts that we made, right?
Those are
Thanks to
fun.
the Makerspace
Yeah,
and
shout
Tyler.
out Wendy.
Yep,
like when you donate to public radio to get your tote bag.
exactly.
every year,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
I'm wearing the limited edition of one pink Golden Hour concert shirt. So what was the question? The question was, you can come to the record release show and on Saturday, and when you make a purchase of these materials here, you are technically making a donation to the concert series and then receiving these items as gifts for your generosity to the concert series. And then Toontown, actually, Carl at Toontown is one of our sponsors for the album's production, and we're looking to do something on Black Friday, some sort of a tabling kind of thing, or hopefully we'll be able to be there.
What about RSD? It'd be cool to see you guys at RSD next year.
Most definitely, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I'm sitting on 290 of these right now, so I don't really want them to be in my
Dang.
basement.
I didn't
much
realize you
longer.
had that many of them.
Yeah, the lowest amount that you can press. We went through Copycats in Minneapolis. Yeah, shout out to Copycats. The lowest amount you can do is 300. So you can't go any lower than that. I would have done maybe 100 just to kind of,
Yeah.
you're going to sell through those, or you're going to get rid of those. But
Mm-hmm.
so I've got a ton of them, and I really think that you put it on, and it's like you're kind of going on a really cool journey. There's a really wide range of musical styles, and obviously they're all from Mankato or the Mankato area. So
I would also point out that most, if not all, I don't think any of these bands exist on an LP. Burn Vault if you put out one next year, has put out an LP.
Correct.
But this is the first record I'm on.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, physical press. You got a song on a record. That's really cool.
So
It's a
I
big
think that's a
step.
cool opportunity. Besides the fact that you provided, for instance, SFU, who didn't play that on this record, but we played this year.
Yeah.
We've literally never played before that show, a set where I wasn't mixing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
affording that opportunity is also really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about being the first time on vinyl. The track 3, maybe we just go down the track list, is my band Silver Summer, and we just play a little bit of that because it's also my first time being on vinyl after a 25-year and counting kind of musical career here. So there you go.
That does sound like you.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Interesting.
I'll start singing along.
Did I mix you guys? Oh no, Zach mixed you guys, didn't he? Or is that a different show?
I think Fetty did.
Oh no, that was
Yeah.
my first time meeting Fetty.
Okay.
Was because he was mixing that show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool tune.
Wait a minute.
Thank you.
This is so. I guess I read this wrong because all tracks engineered by Colin Scharf and Tyler Vaughn except 1, 3, and 12 and 13, which is Fetty. Shout out to Fetty, another friend of the show.
Oh,
up,
he mixed them in a DAW?
No,
too?
he just engineered the set.
I see.
Yeah, I mixed all the tracks after the fact, and then they were mastered by my mastering guy in Madison, Justin Perkins at Mystery Room Mastering, who recently mastered the remix of the Replacements album Tim. So he's getting some nice attention for that.
Cool.
Justin's a rad cat. But yeah. So God, I'm like, there's so many different
Moving
things.
parts.
Yeah, exactly. So I wasn't able to. So the first series. I'm gonna just take this guy up because I'm talking over myself here. The first concert series in 21, I basically hauled a PA to the wine cafe every day, or rather every Saturday, set it up, mixed on the iPad. And again, I know you guys are no strangers to that grueling thing, but it was a slog. And then along the way, Tyler Vaughn, who is the drummer of Silver Summer and a probably a friend of the cast as well. I'm sure. Yeah.
He drums with me
He
as well.
actually
That's
has
right, that's
declined
right.
all of our invites to
Has
be on the
he?
show.
Yeah, he
so
Yeah.
So not a friend of the
Not
show.
sure. An acquaintance of
Yeah,
the show.
yeah.
Tyler was pretty fresh, to like the not performance, but like
Engineering.
Thank
Almost
you.
in
Yeah.
general too. He hadn't done much.
No, not at all.
In the DAW either.
Yeah, and he kind of just helped out every show. He was there helping running cables and things like that. And by the second series, our second year, he was getting the PA set up. He was doing a lot of the like sort of grunt work and a lot of the heavy lifting, which really allowed me to just sort of host and kind of be, a little more like talking to the bands and kind of things like that and working the crowd, I guess. And then by the third year, Tyler basically like set up everything in terms of the day of production. So it's been really cool to have felt responsibilities get a little more divvied out, through, and again, you guys know, the first year was all me and I was ready to like cry at the end of every night. I was so worked up. And then, this would not have been possible if it weren't for obviously Tyler's support and help, but also we mentioned Fetty helping out with some of the engineering too, because what ended up happening is I performed with Silver Summer. I performed with I played drums for Jen Melby's band Sister Gin, and I really don't like performing and like live mixing, like that. It's just I'm so overdoing that now. So I brought in a couple of guest engineers, I guess, for the shows, and then Fetty mixed a couple, and so like that.
I'm the same way. It feels like both are worse when I do both.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't. It's like you're so stressed out. You're freaking out. You got to perform. You got to mix. You got to check the cables. It's like,
and then my head is never in the performance once I actually perform.
No, you're just worried about other things. Yeah.
Yep.
So 4, I believe, of the tracks.
Double O.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you said
sure.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, well, track 4, but 4 of the tracks were engineered by Fetty. So that was, thank you, Fetty. You were a great help. It was kind of cool meeting him. Actually, I was leaving the Wine Cafe probably about a week before the very first show, which was Sister Gin and Kaleb's band. And I'm walking out the cafe, and then there's a table of people, kind of the big long table, the sort of bench or the gray kind of picnic table thing. Mm-hmm. And Mal Murphy goes, "Hey, Colin, you got to come over here. You got to meet this guy Fetty." And I was like, "I've got like a bottle of wine. I'm going home. Got to go home and see Laura." And I go, "Okay, sure, whatever." So I go and sit down, and he's got a Radiohead tattoo somewhere on his arm. And I said, "Is that Radiohead?" And he goes, "Yeah, you're like the first one that I've met up here that knew what this was." And I was like, "Cool." And he and I just hit it off right away.
The 2 Radiohead fans.
Yeah. And then I was like, "Well, hey man, you're a live sound guy. I need a set," because you were out of town for that one or something. Yep. And I was like, "I need a tech for this show next week." And he's like, "Okay, I'll be there." Mm-hmm. And then we just hit it off, and that was a really cool, really cool sort of serendipitous moment. I don't know if I would have met him as sort of intensely, sometimes you meet someone at the right moment, and it's like, this is how we establish a bond right away.
And Fetty taught me a bunch. I ended up showing up to that show, even though I thought I wasn't going to be able to go. And he's taught me so much. And also on your previous point, Tyler is probably gone from having no idea to being like a killer sound tech faster than anyone I've ever heard of or seen.
That boy's got a big brain.
Yeah, I don't know how he fits all that info in there. Andy has a PhD. Andy does whatever. Shout out to Tyler. Acquaintance of the show.
And his big brain.
And it's also just been cool to have, like, he's almost like we're like at similar levels. So he's a great person for me to like bounce things off of and talk to things about.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, really, this is a huge group effort. I mean, I mixed it. I booked the concert series. I promoted it. I did all that sort of front end work, and I sat with the mixes and sat with the tracks and selected which one is going to make it and kind of a thing like that. But again, it would no way have been possible if it were just me on my own. I would be like,
that's the thankless stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one track that I guess it's track 4. We can kind of just bump ahead here. This is such a funny song. This is Double O with J-Mose and DJ Shoba. Apparently they'd never recorded this song, so Shoba was especially excited for this one to be on the
I love
LP.
Double O.
Yeah, he's so good.
Professional at the game, they played and won against the nicest. Right here's on whatever list that they on. Came on stage with outrageously insane songs. Take any lady that engaged me straight home. Laid on pipe, deep in the night, get the drilling. I'm James Bond, a license to kill. She might be the villain. I'm finna Ricky Bobby with me. Real skinny or wide and chunky. I'll peel your banana and come at you like a spider monkey. She wanna ride that donkey, but this is an untamed stallion. At the wedding, wine cafe, we wildin'.
That's good.
Yeah. We say that all the time. Wine Cafe, we wildin'.
Yeah. That's
like that.
that's the go-to saying.
It's
there.
awesome. It's
Speaking
so funny.
of, I didn't realize. Now that this is a year back,
Yeah.
like I can like the Easy Jazz recording is when I got punched in the head.
That is. And that's the next one. That's the next track coming up.
It is. Yeah, we got
so-
in like a literal fist fight on the patio.
I was so
Yeah.
I was so charged up, man. I still get like pretty on about that.
I love thinking about that because it's the chillest show.
Yeah,
Like,
Everyone's always joking that Eric Zimmerman has like a angry crowd now,
Yeah.
and that's just so
well,
funny.
because he and I after Minnesota Original Music Fest.
Yep.
Were you there?
Yeah, I
You
was
were.
there.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
somebody got into a fight on the patio. Then,
Yeah.
so that night, right at the top of the night, there was just some kind of tall, kind of hunched over, like sort of menacing looking guy, just sort of pacing in the parking lot, right? And then we're setting up the PA, and I keep kind of clocking this guy, and I'm like, this guy looks like he's going to be trouble. And I thought to myself, I bet you I'm going to have to deal with him at some point tonight. I just I had that thought ran through my mind. And then he's slow. And then he had like really deep, like back pants pockets, and he kept pulling beers out of them. And he's like drinking in the parking lot.
Rocking the Jankos.
Totally. Yeah. And the patio's packed, and it was Sarah and the Hooligans opened. So like a 6 or 7 piece, like brass kind of just like New Orleans swing jazz kind of band. And then Easy Jazz, because they were a quartet. So it wasn't Easy Jazz Trio, it was Easy Jazz. You know, clearly it's in the name. It's easy jazz. It's sort of like a fusion jazz, kind of thing. Nothing in the music should have induced any sort of senses of violence.
And
right?
Eric Zimmerman might be the single nicest person
Yes.
you'll ever meet in your life. Like, dude's a saint. I love him.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, Ryan Rader is in that band. You know,
yeah.
Evan Beer on the saxophone.
It's a bunch of nice dads in that.
Yeah,
band.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so here's this guy just like again menacing on the patio, and he makes his way from the parking lot onto the patio proper, and he's like sort of if I'm the band, right? You're looking at me here. He's just like maybe 6 feet in front of the band, just lurking back and forth, kind of bobbing his head, and it's like okay, maybe he's just having a good time. I'm trying to breathe deeply and just he's not going to cause any trouble, but slowly but surely, he's drinking his own beers. And then one of the bartenders, Gina, comes out and she says, Colin, can you tell that guy he can't drink, beer, that he can't drink beer that he brings in on our patio. It's illegal or whatever. And I'm like, sure. And I said, hey man, you got to get out of here. And he goes, I'm partying. And I said, you can't drink your own beer on here. He goes, I'm not, or whatever. He's like giving me some kind of.
What would you have done if he said get party though?
I might have. You're using my own phrase against me.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So he's just kind of being a bit belligerent, and then Gina comes up to me and then she tries to like get him off, and
He pushed her.
He pushed her, yeah, and that's when the heartbeat started going really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on break.
Yeah.
She came back, she grabbed me, and like I just started corralling him back.
Yeah. So Gina walks by me. She goes, "I'll get Jacob. He's got big muscles." And then, so one of the probably issues with the way that we are setting up these shows is that it blocks one of the entrances and exits to the patio. So the band, if you're familiar with the Wine Cafe patio, you know that the band is now set up kind of by the Wine Cat's shop, so that they end up blocking off one of the exits there.
South side of the patio.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it is the south side. You're right. So all of this is occurring at the south side of the patio, right in front of the band. Jacob comes out. He's trying to get the guy. Come on, YOLO, you got to get out of here. And
you
then
got to walk him through the whole crowd.
And yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so you can't
Yeah.
just put your hands on him.
No.
Like, you're like trying to get your arms
And
up
there
and
are-
push him back. Like,
yeah, and the patio's packed as people are enjoying the music. Everybody's sort of a little like suddenly there's an altercation that's brewing here. And you guys get to the very end, to the far end, to the north end of the patio. Thank you. And there's a shove, and then the guy just open hand. Man, it makes my blood like run hot. Slaps Jacob right across the face, and
Right now.
yeah, and he whacked him really hard. And I have never in my life ever like gotten into a fight. I played hockey all through middle and high school, but was a very clean player. You know, I sort of
That honestly surprised me, especially since you were in punk bands
Yeah.
and played hockey
Yeah.
and
Yeah, so never threw a fist. And I didn't throw a fist at this guy, but what I did do is I ran up to him and I thought, okay, wow, he's got about 8 inches on me. He was huge. He was a big dude.
For context, this is like he's kind of like a funny looking, like probably like early 50s white dude who's like 6'3", like big reach. Like,
That's what I was thinking.
I know people probably imagine that I'm very tall, but I'm actually 5'9".
Yeah, we're the same height. Yeah, so we're the same height. So I run up and I'm like, this aggression cannot stand, man. And I guess I gotta tackle him. So I tackle. I'm like, and I hate that this happened. And like, it's so weird, but I like.
It's like my favorite thing.
He's like, nobody slaps a bartender at the wine cafe on my watch. So I just slammed into this guy, slammed him against the railing, having all sorts of dark thoughts about I'm like my rage is taking over, and then I body slam him to the ground, and he's laying there. He's like stunned in shock, and I'm going like, oh my god! And suddenly the adrenaline is very quickly dissipating, and the fear is taking over, and I'm like, what do I do now?
Did I just assault a man?
Yeah, and then somebody yanks me off of him, and then he kind of struggles up, and he's missing a shoe. His hat's over there. People are yelling at him. He's saying,
we were all because we all he was on the ground, like everyone had him covered, and we were like, are you good? Are you are you just gonna be done? Because now you're by the trash can. Like you're not coming back in here.
Right. I literally have taken out the garbage. I mean, I don't know who that guy was. Like he's never saw him again.
Yeah, he didn't come back. I don't think.
Could we hear the track that inspired this?
That
violence?
inspired the And when you hear the track, you're going to be like, that is what the band that was playing. Like, actually, hold on. I want to start from the top. The song is so pretty.
I love this song.
It's called My Dear Friends.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this makes me want to throw fists.
Right?
Yeah, this one's an easy original, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And Easy was on guitar.
He was, yeah. Ethan Pinto, who I believe moved away.
Just recently,
was playing bass that night.
Awesome guy.
God.
We'll miss him.
Big time. Ryan Rader on drums.
Whose keys?
That's Eric's guitar. Kind of.
Yeah, his
with
tone is sick.
Yeah. But yeah, this was and this song, it's like it's that sort of like street lamp kind of midnight blue kind of tone, in my mind. And then I think about that clown that was there, and it's like,
Have you seen Eric's stickers / business card? It's like a drawing done by one of his kids, and it's I love it.
Oh, cute. No,
Yeah, it's
that's
really
awesome.
neat.
I've also gigged a good amount with him at this point.
Eric, awesome.
and same with Ryan, and just amazing people to gig with. There's such a good hang, and they're so positive, and yeah, I love this band. If you can't tell.
Yeah, and like here we are. We're on track 5 of side 1. It opened with kind of indie pop, with Kaleb, and then straight up punk with Torrid Forest, disco, whatever with Silver Summer, hip hop with Double O. Now we're in like instrumental jazz fusion kind of stuff. This is just side 1, man. There's a whole
they got the Ericksons up next.
Yeah, right.
Heavy hitters that I feel like not even a lot of people know. In Mankato, like when I think of Mankato, I know they're from St. Peter,
right?
Like I don't hear like a lot of people in there naming like the bands in town that like do a lot of performances or are like really next level musicians. Naming the Ericksons.
Right.
And it's like that should be on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Yeah, I know. They kind of came, so we'll hear them next, listeners or viewers, right?
Both.
Yeah, both. You're right. Listening and watching. The Ericksons kind of came. They kind of hit the airwaves via The Current in like maybe 2016 or so.
Yeah.
They had just done a record at April Bass, which is Justin Vernon from Bon Iver's studio in Fall Creek, Wisconsin. Incidentally, it's about a half a mile away from where Laura's grandparents lived.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like right up the street, from where Laura kind of spent a lot of her childhood. If we just walked another half a mile, we would have met.
Yeah, you would have found the Ericksons.
So we would have met Justin Vernon. Is always Laura's story.
Yeah.
So the Ericksons, recorded this really beautiful, like lush, like sort of digital, like electronic folk pop album.
Yep.
Then they were really hot on that for a couple of years. And then Laura and I were hosting living room shows at our old house in Lincoln Park, and they popped up and we reached out and they played a show at our house. Wasp. And it was really cool. And we've kind of kept in touch with them. And they played the Spring Formal with us earlier this year, too, as did you and Ark. Grum being you. Grum and Ark also played the Spring Formal.
We had him on our show, too. So we have like 3 songs by him.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And so the funny story about that show is that I woke up. So it was Given Names, Laura's band, and the Ericksons. And I woke up that morning feeling like, that whole thing, like, am I just hungover or do I have COVID? So So I woke up, I was like, God, I feel like I felt a year ago when I first got sick. I tested negative, and I was like, I guess maybe it's just a cold. So, you don't have any idea. So you go to the show and here you are, and I'm just like feeling, please, Lord, whoever's out there, just let it be a cold,
Yeah.
Keeping my distance and all that stuff just to kind of be on the safe side. But a couple days later, it was like, oh, yep, you are fully on.
No, this is the Scharf variant. This is...
That's right.
Well, and there was like, it wasn't any particular person, but there was like a big string of shows the October of 2019 that I think, like you had a show, we had a show.
2021. Yeah.
21, yeah.
We did the living room or the attic show at Martha's house. Yeah.
And I had a show the day before. Kaleb had a show that weekend. So at some point, the musicians got it, and then we had these shows, and then literally every person I knew had them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that was like the first time people came out too.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
that was like just when people were starting to kind of like get away from masking all the time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of the inevitable resurgence of people like trying to learn how to live with an active
and
virus.
that was the only time I got it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That I knew and tested, but it was really obvious.
Yeah. So anyway, the next track here is the Ericksons. And this is like, boy, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but anytime the Ericksons are performing live or you listen to their music, it's like my throat just like
I cried.
swells. Yeah.
I cried at the concert.
Me too.
For
I know.
sure.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up.
What was beautiful, what was so cool about their performance, especially, I remember saying, like, when they finished, their set, and we all congratulated and said, thank you, the Ericksons. I said, literally never heard the patio that quiet before.
Yeah.
Not a soul, not a peep.
Yeah, it was dead quiet, and
it was beautiful.
it was so easy to just take beautiful pictures.
Yeah, you got some really, really great photos.
That's the one I sold.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
They're one of those bands too that when you see them, just them and their guitars, you're just like, how are they making me feel this way?
Yep. How do they do it? They're sisters, and there's something about the shapes of our heads when we're siblings. It's very similar, and then your voices are very similar. So the way that their voices just rub together in the air, it's otherworldly.
It was hard when I was mixing them because I would find myself getting all the way to the end of the song without having made a move because I just got in a trance.
Totally. Yeah.
It's beautiful and true, and I will find in the center that little piece.
This is How I Love You, right?
Yeah.
Find what we need just to get us through the night, 'cause it's how I love you. Oh, it's how
I'd love to hear them with just like 50 microphones in a like beautiful echo room. Just
Yeah. There's something that they're very special. And I kind of like the pace of this record. So one thing to keep in mind if you're going to put together a vinyl record is what I was told was I was organizing the track list for this is you want to have the least bass heavy songs on the inner grooves, right? So hence the Ericksons sort of being the end of side one, which makes side one seem like it kind of closes on a bit of a sad note. But then you flip it over, and it's Given Names popping up on the first track of side B, and it's a really energetic kind of poppy song. So, when you're listening to the album, it's like you're really feels like you're sort of being told a story in a sort of emotional way, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite Given Names shows I've seen.
Yeah,
It
they
was
were on.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, let's fade
should
this
we,
out and flip it.
just flip this thing?
Sure,
Yeah.
let's do it. I didn't want to cut him off without a nice fade out, you know.
You should, yeah, hit that. Oh, that'll go.
I'm sorry.
You're
Am I
good.
doing this right? Okay. And you know,
Probably.
like I had obviously considered CDs because they would have been a lot cheaper to produce for the compilation, but it just didn't seem like. Do you guys listen to CDs? Do you buy a CD?
I do a
I
ton
do,
in my
yeah.
car.
Okay, you have a CD player in the car.
Yeah.
See, I have Ron Arsenault's album CD stuck in my CD player in my car. It won't get out. So Ronnie, you're in there, but you know.
Yeah, I don't want
Like,
to. I don't want to flex on anyone, but I got a 6 CD changer in my Centuries
Ooh.
or my Sienna. So
Yeah. what year is that car, man?
it's like I think it's 12 or
Okay,
08,
sure,
somewhere
okay,
in there.
okay,
But
sure.
I keep
Sienna Gang.
I have like a 6 CD changer in my home, and I just keep whatever CDs local people give me. And
Yep.
just
Sure.
bring
Yeah.
them in and out. So it's a really easy way to. I don't know. There's something about physical media that's really nice, but
Totally.
at the same time,
Same.
if you don't keep it like a button away, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And like it felt, you know, so CDs to me didn't feel kind of like special enough, you
Yeah.
know? They felt like, yeah, sure, a CD, cool. Like it's a little sort of thing. And I didn't want to just, it's on Bandcamp, check it out, you know, or you can stream it on,
Yeah.
because like streaming just felt a little not celebratory again enough. And so we opted for vinyl, and it was sort of a, boy, this is a tall amount of money for this thing, and that kind of gets you into the donors. We can talk about that. But so what I'd like about it being a record is you got to sit with it. You can skip tracks on a CD. You can, I guess, fast forward on cassette if you want to like hit that. And streaming just seems a little too erratic for again the like story that I sort of was being told as I was compiling and mixing all these tracks. And so I'm just excited, and I'm just excited, yeah, for people to be able to sit with it and to sort of go on that journey. So
Yeah, I mean, to imagine the experience of someone having three of these records or something,
Yeah.
and being able to listen to them all too, that's just awesome. Like a little collection.
yeah, and that's kind of the idea. Like year 1, year 2, you know,
Yeah.
year 3, and this is technically volume 2. It's sort of like, you know how like Star Wars is kind of out of order, right? So
Yeah.
volume 1 should have been the 2021 series, but we don't have a record from that. So I'm sort of interested to like go back in time and release volume 1, like a few, you know, that's kind of one of my thoughts. But yeah, so this is Laura, my wife Laura's band, Given Names.
Is that pitch effect on the guitar Ocean's 11?
Yes. Yeah, right.
I could hear it.
Yeah. It's like always on for her. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love that effect. I use it a lot.
Totally. Yep. Yeah. Just kind of fills up her sound.
Yep, that and
Yeah.
the Dyna are like the 2 spots I'm usually using.
Yeah.
For this mess we're in, you're playing possum, trying to save your own skin.
1, 2, 3,
It's a
4.
quit.
Right, then the band comes in.
I had a similar experience when we did their live session.
Yeah.
Where I would just like, I would mix something and then I would just like get in a trance and I'd be like, oh, I'm supposed to be mixing.
Yeah, I know. It's easy with great musicians. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like, my God, I'm just listening to the performance. Yeah.
Michelle is the
Yeah.
single tightest drummer I've ever recorded.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I know, she's got such cool beats and such cool ideas. Yeah. 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 So I guess I could talk a little bit about the ways in which we raised the funds to
Yeah,
get this
yeah,
thing
love
going. You guys
to.
want to hear about that story? Because, you know, I kind of keep saying like, there's no way we could have done this without the support of the community, really. And so KMSU opted to I don't want to use the phrase like pull out from sponsorship, but they decided, you know, they weren't able to help us out. Can we edit that? I'm kidding. They weren't able to help us out with this year's concert series, which was totally cool. And it also, you know, presented a new challenge which was also cool because every time you get a challenge, I always go like, there's a wall and you're walking toward it and you're like, oh man, this used to be so easy. So how do I get around this wall? And we figured out how to get around it. For the year of 2022, I had been talking with a lot of different people about some things, and all of that kind of bubbled up into the Mankato Area Foundation becoming the fiscal sponsor for the Golden Hour concert series, which meant that Mankato Area Foundation was able to accept donor funding for the concert series, and of course they have a number of charitable organizations that they also represent. And through them, we raised what's 6 plus 20, $8,500. And then
That's awesome.
I know. I was there was nothing, and then my contact there, Ashley, emailed me and she said, "Oh my God, Colin, we got a donation." It was $2,500, right? I was like, "Holy cats, that's about a fifth of the budget that I need, whatever." And then a couple of days later, there was nothing. And then a few days later, she's like, "Someone just gave us $6,000," and I was like,
Dang.
"Oh my God!" Wow. And these are folks, in the community who regularly are donating and like giving money to things that they want to support. And one of the cool things, after I believe your show, Quantum Mechanics, a woman came up and said, "I want to give you $1,000," and I said, "Okay, cool,
no problem."
Yeah, so she wrote us a check, and off it went. And then of course there were those very, very large donations, and then a number of smaller donations that we collected throughout the summer that again were able to. I totally forgot. The Coffee Hag sponsored as well. They gave us a nice donation. Toontown gave us a really nice donation. And Zoe Browender, who's a friend and realtor, also, threw her hat in the ring.
I went to school with her.
Yeah, Zoe's awesome. Thanks, Zoe. So Carl at Toontown, Jen at Jen Melly Kelly at the Hag, Zoe. I forget Ronnie was the woman who came onto the patio and gave us the check, and some other folks who are sort of private donors. Without their support, and then obviously everybody who came to every show would kind of chip in. We again made these fancy T-shirts, which Emily Stark was kind enough to sort of be my Vanna every time at the show, and she would flap them down. And we put together these little stickers. One thing that we also implemented this past season was a backdrop, because if you buy the record, you're going to see that it's usually a rusty red van parked behind the show, the band and every show. That's my vehicle. And I just, as I was like putting the pictures together, I was like, "Oh God, this looks horrible!" Like here's these bands like decked out, looking really cool, and they're performing. It's a beautiful golden hour, literally golden, sort of the wash of the setting sun coming in. And there's my rusted out 09 Dodge Grand Caravan, just like depreciating the property value. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So our friend Marnie Stover had done some really incredible decorating for our spring formal show, and I hit her up to design a little backdrop for this year's show. And she made something really cool, brought it down every week, and we hung it up. And it really did add to a sort of, it made it a little more like added to the ambiance, I guess. If you will,
I would totally agree.
Yeah, of the show. Yeah, so that was
and
really
it
nice.
Also kind of really well telegraphed, like, "Hey, go around."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You had to.
I've had some people walk through my band when I'm playing in that spot. Last time SFU played there, this like family of 5 just walked right through us, and I was like,
"What are you doing?
You really don't see?" And they're like stepping over our speakers and stuff, and it's like,
So and I guess you kind of get back to like, for me, kind of part of the like design of the series again was to because I grew up playing punk rock in basements and touring around, and it was typically a 3-band bill, maybe a bigger bill, sometimes like a 4 or 5 bands or whatever, because all the groups were writing original material, and all the songs are very short, so you may have 4 or 5 bands on a show. But the punk club that I grew up going to when I was in high school, every Friday and Saturday, much like the Enchanted Muse, right? Yeah. So that really is like nostalgic, for me, because we went to the Cobra La in Olean, New York, and it was usually a 3-band bill, local, upstart, some touring band, and then like the local sort of heavy hitter, would sort of headline the show. And with the Golden Hour, I was really interested to to kind of give bands in Mankato that are writing original music a proper stage, because more often than not, you kind of see like one group playing for 3 hours, maybe a lot of covers, maybe it's, sort of like a little less, what would you say? Like, just like maybe less original music and a little more towards sort of background music, right?
Yeah. Music for a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Music for a drink.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like that. Music for a drink. So with the concert series, I really wanted to say these are the local bands that are writing original music, and here is the spotlight, here is the stage. So, how do you accomplish that? Well, you have to take care of them. So again, KMSU was able to provide funding for the first 2 years. I brought my sound system every single time, ran sound for the bands, which again is something that we're not typically used to. I'll go back to Loadie in a second.
Yeah.
When we're playing here, like you said earlier, Graham, like you're more often than not you're running sound for yourself, or
Absolutely.
you're shelling out to hire somebody in, and it gets tough.
On a gig that already pays $200,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like a sound guy probably wants minimum like $25 an hour
Exactly.
to show up.
Yeah. So so that was I felt like that was kind of a cool thing to be able to give bands a proper stage, and that was what Scott Laguerre had suggested when he first sort of planted the seed in my head, was do something, create a sort of series that helps make your local bands shine.
Yeah.
And I don't want to obviously I can't take full credit for it. I can't take any real credit for it because it's one of those thankless things, but I hope that it seems people have enjoyed performing at it.
And the shows were all available for free.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Everyone
Everything.
could see it. It was, and like we kind of talked about earlier too, this was coming out of like a really kind of dark time for local and national, I suppose, music.
Yeah.
But like, especially us around here, we just didn't have much going on, very little opportunity.
Yeah.
We really weren't sure how to like get back into it. So stuff like this was an awesome.
If I didn't have Chestnut, I literally would not have been able to do anything.
Yeah. That's
Speaking of amazing resources, this next song is called Grandma's Medicine Cabinet.
Yes, and shout out to Loadie, because they're the only reason I'm on this album. They're the one who asked Onion Bone to play.
That's right. That's right. Here they are. Here's Loadie. I love this song.
Me too.
This show was actually inside the cafe because it was raining that day, so we had to move it indoors.
And when two of the loudest bands of the entire series played, we had to play inside.
Yeah, I know. So it was so awesome. It was like, and I kind of dropped the needle, in the recording session, and I think this might have been the first track that I just hit play, and there it was. And when you listen to the album, it comes in right after Given Names, which is this beautiful, beautiful, sweet, like indie pop song. And then you hit this song, and it just smashes you in the face with like Black Sabbath riffs. It's so cool.
Another a cool story about this show is right front row at the short round table. There was all people literally in their 50s or older.
Yeah.
And both us and Loadie, us being this weird math rock band and Loadie being the only loud metal band in town, we were just like, oh, these guys are going to hate us. And for both of our sets, they were like cheering. There was one point in my set, I was like doing a tapping solo and I was playing it in front of this like 6-year-old woman's face, and she was like, ah! And it taught, I like learned something that day about like judging people for their music taste. Like they were more into it than like a bunch of my friends were, like my friends were coming in and out, and this table's just like
ripping. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know. I remember feeling a little like they might not want to stick around for much longer. And they were there. They were there. I think the whole time.
Literally the
really
whole time,
cool.
And into it, not even just there, wanting to be there. And then we found out later, one of the guys there was a sound tech, and a bunch of them were musicians.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I totally judged these folks, and they loved it more than anyone.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
We also packed that place.
Yeah, dude.
You couldn't move.
It was sweaty.
Yeah, yeah. During
awesome.
Loadie's set, like I literally had to stand by the bar. Like,
Yeah, I was back there too,
Yeah.
mixing. Like, okay, you guys got enough up there? That was so rad. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so for the event on Saturday, one thing that I just actually wrapped up this morning, in 2021 for the first series, I kind of have been on like a weird, like nostalgic sort of time warp today, which maybe explains why I'm sort of like feeling a little out of it. But also, it was Halloween last night, and I forgot that I had seen Jacob. I asked him what he did last night. He said, "I was at the party with you," and I said, "Oh, Lord, Lord have mercy." So in 21 for the first series, I made 2 video series for each headlining artist.
I remember that. That
Yeah,
was really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I had a blast doing it. One of the series was an interview, sort of a quick, POV cam like interview thing that I called 20-ish questions, and basically like I met with the front person of each group that was playing that year, of each headlining group. So there were 8. Well, there were 7 because one person couldn't do it. 6 because 2 people couldn't do it. Met with them wherever they wanted to meet. I met with Michelle Roach of Machiko at Vagabond Village. I went out to Stacey K's house, which is on the ravine, a beautiful outdoor location. Laura Carls and I chatted in her backyard with her little garden. Yeah, and so I did that video, that series, just kind of like, we had been a year from being in front of anybody, and kind of the idea there was like, hey, let's ask these people questions. I mean, you guys were doing it too, and that's kind of modeling off of what you had been doing with the cast. And so I made that series, and then in the same shoot, I would do what I called the Golden Hour, which was a 3-song set of a live, generally acoustic performance of each group. And I had always meant to put it together into like a documentary of sorts, like just because this was like 2 hours worth of material of all these local groups. Yeah. And once that first season was over, I just like collapsed. I was like, I'm not going back in there, man. You ever had that feeling where like you kind of finish something and there's still stuff to be done, and you're like, I can't go back in there.
Like a documentary film.
Yeah, like
little exclamation point.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
we have so much content, dude.
Yeah.
We have so much stuff.
Well, yeah, and like with you guys, it seems like you're always releasing new things. So I mean, I imagine there's a vault somewhere with like
we got
unreleased
a
material.
Disney vault of our own.
Yeah, do you? Yeah, and it's like, what if we put this together, and what if we like reimagine how this can fit? And it's just, I'm like, I'm not going back in there. No way. So I went back in there this morning, and I unearthed all of the 20-ish questions and Golden Hour performances, put those together in what again amounted to be a 2-hour-long reel. Just like Laura Carls kicks it off with her 20-ish, and then her performance, and then the next band with sort of with the interview and the performance. And what I want to do is I want to play this, project it at the Carnegie on Saturday when we're doing the release party.
Sick.
Kind of in the background, So you can go like engage with it if you want, or you can mingle. But I'm like, I got to cut this down. So now I cut some stuff out, just kind of one song from each performance. So it's about an hour and 15 now, which is cool. But I said in my interview for Silver Summer, I was like, well, Laura, my wife, shot mine, and I said some phrase, or I was saying something, and I said, well, I'm 35 right now. I'm 38 right now. Like, oh my God. I was like, this was 3 years ago. And like, God, I just could not believe it. But those videos are really cool, and I'm excited for folks to like re-engage with them. Yeah. The other thing that we're going to do, because if you've been to the Carnegie, it's a big room and like
super tall ceilings.
Beautiful room, but like I've had some amplified music in there, and it's like whoosh. So the thought
going
of
around that center thing in the middle.
Yeah. So the thought of like just playing the record. Obviously, you would like just put the speakers up, make a big sound system, get the subs, play the record, and let's listen. And I was like, I don't really want to barrage people with all that sound.
You'd have to do like delay towers or something.
Yeah. So what I thought to do then is listening stations, sort of like record stores used to do, I guess. You could take the record into a side room with headphones, So I'm going to bring a couple of record players and set up in the side room. I have little headphone amps, so 4 people will be able to listen to the record at once on each record player station, and then you can put the headphones on and like more intimately engage with it.
Cool.
That's really
yeah,
cool.
which I
like
think
that.
might sort of, allow for it to be enjoyed a little more properly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sounds like we got goal area 51s. Speaking of Tyler, that was the literal end.
Just, run that back a little for us.
I'll pop it back.
This
they still
band,
playing?
no, they aren't, and it really sucks. Honestly, they were little fun fact. The first gig I ever did for Triple Falls was a backyard party featuring Goal Area 51, Silver Summer, and
Oh, that was you. Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. And you guys hooked up
We did a little live stream.
streaming. My aunt
Yep.
in Arizona was like, she kept texting me like, the stream keeps cutting out. I'm trying to watch
yeah,
it.
Yeah, we
She
didn't
was like
have good
watching though. That
internet.
was awesome. Yeah.
But I love
Yeah.
that band, and it's all super cool people.
Yeah.
And I think everyone in it is still playing music.
Yeah.
Besides, I don't know if Robin's still
Yeah.
doing stuff, but
Yeah.
I really liked them.
Yeah, there's like, so Robin is a creative writing professor at MSU. Ed, the bass player, is an English professor, and Tyler is also a professor at MSU. Tyler's a drummer. Ed and Tyler play with me in Silver Summer, but prior to Silver Summer, they had been playing in Goal Area 51 with playing Robin's songs. And yeah, they're just incredible songs. They're
Yeah,
so fun.
I love that. It's quick cooking meth in Mama's kitchen sink. Like,
Yeah.
that's a great lyric, Robin.
Yeah, here it is.
Football.
Remember I remember everybody laughing every time she sang that line. It's so good.
I really love. I just love all those songs. Honestly.
Yeah, I know. This was a hard. Theirs was a hard set to pick from because there was a lot of really cool songs, and I was like, and I know their material probably better than most of the bands on the comp just because I've seen them and played with them a lot. And I just landed on this one, I think, because it just made me laugh.
Yeah. We were actually talking the
Yeah,
other day how
yeah.
we thought it was interesting that almost everyone on your label is a teacher.
Yeah.
Like in some form.
In some form,
Because
yeah.
Hannah is literally my teacher.
She's a music instructor.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
literally all of you guys are teachers.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
That is kind of cool.
Is there anyone I'm missing? Echo, I guess, was in this band previously. But
Sure. Yeah. God, Michelle is a
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah. She's definitely a
Yeah.
teacher.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
That is-
Laura, is Mandy a teacher?
She was a guitar teacher. Yeah, at Shidles. Yeah.
All teachers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That is cool.
I love that.
Yeah, highly educated.
Yeah, this is a
Which is nice.
highly educated label.
Yeah.
We can go right into the
Yeah, let's just-
OB track.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Why don't you tell us about this one?
So this song is mostly a joke. We wanted to write a stoner metal song and an ode to. That doesn't even sound like my guitar tone. That's so awesome.
It rips, dude. It's so cool.
And
this one made me laugh a lot too.
Whenever you go in the woods, everybody knows.
me and Topher also play this riff as a joke at SFU practice.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to be caught in the woods without
And then here comes the bun right here.
Yep. But some of these riffs are Loadie riffs.
Like
Slowed down,
Yeah.
switched to 3, sped up. And the very last riff is just a straight up, like I didn't slow it down. It's just a stolen riff from Loadie. And right when we played it, I looked back and pointed at Randy and he gave me this like fake
Yeah.
angry look.
that's awesome.
But afterwards, I was like, you guys can have the song if you
I just love how heavy this is. It's so cool. Yeah.
That is so good,
Because
man.
you don't do vocals in Onion Bun, really.
you're all instrumental,
just Powerpuff Girls.
dude.
We've never played this song since, and we had to all but beg Alex to let you put it on the record.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I kind of saw this.
Shark knife today.
It just made me laugh. I couldn't help it. I'm like, this is so absurd.
Oh, what would I do? Oh, he's got a bag of Funyuns. We're cool.
And then I kind of saw that track. You know, I saw the comp. The reason I kind of was maybe fighting for that one, and I would make a different decision probably now, just per the novelty of that song. But again, the novelty of it was like, of course this has to be on this compilation.
No, that's how I felt.
That's how you felt.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good. Yeah.
No,
like,
I was the same way. I was
Yeah.
like, Alex, we're never gonna play, let alone record
Release
this song.
this track,
So
right.
why not
Yeah.
give Colin the song that like we're never gonna try to
Yeah.
have as our own? I don't know. And then now this exists forever, and
it's a deep cut. Like
It's a deep-
legitimately, there's like 300 of these, and when Onion Bun is the biggest math rock band ever,
Yeah,
yeah. Nardwuar's
people are gonna be on
gonna pull that out.
Discogs.
They are like, oh my god, paying
That's our
thousands of dollars for
Nardwuar
this
record.
thing. Yeah.
And I also like a big part of the ethos of Onion Bun is
Yeah.
like not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Like we play twinkle riffs about, or like we have songs that are like 16 words long. So it was weird to me that he even like took it that seriously. I was like, we have a song called that episode of Samurai Champloo where they play baseball. You know, like when did you start taking us seriously?
Yeah.
Who do we have here now?
This is J-Mose with Breaking the Chains. J-Mose and DJ Shoba on being the DJ.
I really love that you've been consistently doing at least one hip hop act.
Yeah. When I first moved here, I had never seen live hip hop before because I was always just playing basement punk shows.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
There wasn't a hip hop scene where I grew up playing music. And when I got out here, it was like all hip hop shows were just happening all
Yeah.
the time, and it was like, oh, so that's like, wow. I was just
Yeah, yeah.
always so blown away. And then when we started Goodnight Gold Dust, we kind of got to be friends with like Il Po, Nate George, Intelligent
Love
Design.
Nate.
Yeah.
Love
and
Rob.
we got to like, you know, just we played a lot of shows, especially with Nate. Il Po, yeah, and just kind of developed a bond there, and it always felt kind of cool. And one of the sort of jokes that we always used to say is sort of like, when you go to a local show in Mankato, you're probably going to get indie rock, hip hop, and some sort of punk, you know, kind of thing all together. And again, like the compilation just puts that on full display.
I was so excited when I saw Il Po was one of the people. I don't know if you guys know this, but that was Nate's first performance in years.
Yeah.
Like I think 5-6 years.
This past year, you mean?
Yeah,
this
yeah.
past
But
season?
this one we just did. So I was stoked you got him to play.
Yeah. Nate and I have, well, I work kind of contractually through the organization where he works.
Oh.
Yeah, so we see each other every so often. I saw him on Monday actually. But yeah, when I asked him to play the show for this, when I asked him to play this past season's Golden Hour series, he was like, oh my god, I haven't performed in a long time. And he was really kind of, okay, I'm gonna do it, he said. And then we had to move the date. That's right, that's what happened. Silver Summer got a show on a Saturday in Winona, and I was like, man, I gotta take this show. And that was the same date as Nate's show, and I really wanted to see Nate, and I was like, oh no, I can't. So it was a lot of like shell game happening behind the scenes, and we were able to make it work, and it was really cool to see Nate weeks after the show, and he's just like, man, I'm still glowing from that. Like he was still feeling it.
Yep. So you got to mix the rap show, and I had to mix the high gain show.
Yeah, the thing about hip hop shows, right? It's like you get the DJ set, maybe, and it's basically just like riding the fader, right? Like sometimes vocal comes in hot, tracks hot, not loud enough. Now it's a lot of that.
Yeah, and most rappers will literally get mad if you put too much effects on them.
Yeah.
So I maybe put reverb and never delay because people aren't used to rapping with delay.
No.
They'll speech jam themselves.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
Yeah.
This track here, so this is Liz Draper on the upright bass and Tasha Barron on the keyboards. And I didn't really know Liz. So Liz she's been on the show, yeah? Yeah. Like Liz is like awesome. She's
Probably
very
the most successful touring musician in the area.
Totally. Oh my God, she's in Ireland, I think, right now.
Yep, Dublin.
Yeah, right. So I was like, oh my God, because Silver Summer had to cancel our show because I had COVID. This was my whole year last year, was like being afraid of getting sick, and I had to cancel a lot of shows last year because I got sick. But so Silver Summer was supposed to play with the Drag Me With a Spoon drag troupe, I should, and I was so excited for that, and I got sick and we couldn't play with them, so then we had to reschedule our show for September, and I just happened to be that Liz was free, and she put together, or rather she and Tasha did their improv kind of jazz, set, and I remember being a little like, well, this might be a little too far out for this wine cafe crowd, but so many people came up and were like, this is so rad.
Yeah.
How cool you got these guys. And I was
Somehow
like,
you got someone weirder than Onion.
Yeah.
It's awesome. No, I love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Liz. She, her performances on here were some of the first I recorded, and just love them.
Yeah.
I listen to those like on my computer, not even online often.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're really inspiring.
Yeah, she's super rad, and like really down to earth. So it's cool when you meet somebody who is like sort of doing what you maybe wish you could be doing, and they're just awesome.
Oh, I forgot
It's
to
like
mention
infinitely cooler than like whatever anyone is doing. And
Also, we forgot to mention that Kaleb released a record of his performance, who was the first track we listened to, Kaleb Braun-Schulz and the Nightingale. He actually took these songs and put out the whole record of songs.
Yeah, he reached out to me and he said, Colin, can I pay you to mix more of my songs? And I said, of course, I will take a job.
Yeah.
So he selected the tracks that he wanted. I think it's 4, maybe 5 songs. I can't remember. I had already mixed the one track, so we just had to, I just basically like, well, you when you're mixing, even though it's a live set and it's all like, you could just use the same settings, there's still stuff that pops up. You got to dive in.
Especially if it's going to be released just on him.
Yeah.
Usually when I do live recordings, I almost refuse to automate.
Yeah.
Because I really want it to sound live, and I don't like over compressing and stuff like that. Because I want you to feel like you were there. That's like the whole point of this video. Go listen to the record if you want the perfectly pristine thing.
Right. The sort of studio thing.
Yeah. But I thought that record sounded great, and I thought it was really cool. And I also, is that released on Precious Metals then?
I don't know. we never quite had that discussion. We keep talking about Precious Metals Records. If you look in the bottom left hand corner, you'll see our kind of donors and sponsors and things, and there's my little record label logo. That was perhaps the hardest, and I still am not happy with it. Like logo sort of rather area of this album artwork to lay out. It was like 5 or 6 like logos, and they're all different sizes and different sort of, you stretch them and it's like now it hangs over this way, and it was like, I hate how it looks, but everybody should be represented on there.
Put the barcode sideways here.
Yeah, copycats put the barcode on there, so that wasn't me, but I remember like laid out the artwork, and that took a while, obviously, because it's a 4-panel, like 12-inch piece of art, and there's detail on every inch of it there. But the if you can see the little sticker here, this is a Polaroid that I had taken, and it's the same Polaroid on there. And when and when I asked Wendy Schultz to design our T-shirt,
she crushed that.
She did,
it doesn't even look screen printed.
Not at all. No. I said I kind of wanted to look. I don't even really remember the like sort of direction that I had given her, but she just rolled with it and created a really, really beautiful shirt. And then Tyler and Wendy, and I can't remember who else.
I think it was Christina.
Thank you. Yeah, that's right. They and some others, like just for like 6 or 7 hours, like just screen printed these shirts.
Yeah. Oh, it's tedious
at the makerspace. Yeah.
You save a bunch of money, but it is work. Don't let anyone tell you screen printing is not.
Totally. Yeah. So I mean, we got, I guess, one last track. I can start it over. This is Jen Melby Kelly, who owns the, I was going to say Wine Cafe. She owns the Coffee Hag.
Let's give her the Wine Cafe.
Yeah, let's give her the Wine Cafe too. When Laura and I first started playing with Goodnight Gold Dust, Jen always tells the story. She saw us for the first time at the Sugar Room or maybe it was just Laura doing an open mic or something. But Jen, she'll tell the story, and she's like, and I saw this young woman singing, and I said, oh my God, I have to sing with her. I have to meet her, and I have to sing with her.
Aw.
And then we started doing Gold Dust and Sister Jen shows together. And every time Jen and Laura sing, they have incredibly different voices. Like Jen has this like kind of beautiful alto that's really rock and roll, kind of gravelly in a way, and Laura has a bit more of an airy kind of like higher voice. But when they sing together, it's just like it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I say all of that to say that we spent a lot of time playing music with Sister Jen, and Jen has taken a step back from performing live, and I was like, Jen, we got to get you back on stage. So I invited her to play for the Golden Hour. She opened for Kaleb's band. And actually, it's me on drums. So I'm on this twice, which is kind of cool. I'll just drop it here. And this song, sorry, let me get it to a better spot. This is Jen's. This is her pandemic song. It's called Long Year.
Jen reminds me of a lot of those
My bad.
On that one.
I gotcha. Thanks. See, this is the thing about records. It's hard to skip, so you got to kind of sit with the whole thing.
Yeah. Jen reminds me of a lot of those like really popular, not quite country artists from like the early 2000s.
Yep. Yeah. She like grew up big time on like Indigo Girls, Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder. Winona Judd. Sorry.
Yeah.
And she's just got that powerful voice. And it's Kaleb on backup vocals too and bass.
I love Kaleb's bass playing.
Yeah, he's great. He is. Cooper's on the guitar.
I play with those two a lot, and it's really fun.
Yeah, and I mean, this is 13 songs, 13 different bands, 13 different sets of musicians, and there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah. But
like, it just really kind of goes to show the like powerful music community we have. Yeah. And all these folks are writing their own music. They all played at least an hour of original music, which is, I mean, it's not like some fancy, never been done before kind of thing, but like, there it is. It's cool. And this town is, when you think about like, sorry, I'm talking over the song.
No, you're okay.
When I kind of like step back and think about like the size of this town, and it's a big city, right, for the region, but it's small in the broader scheme of things. And just all of these wonderful musicians like living like blocks away or in the same room right here, It's very cool.
Well, why don't we let Jen play us out and let the people know what they need to know about you, the record, and
Sure. So the Golden Hour live LP release show is this Saturday at the Carnegie Arts Center from 7 to 9. That we are asking a $35 donation for the album, and again, your donation goes to help fund next year's Golden Hour concert series. And again, as a gift, you receive the record. $50 gets you the whole package: the shirt and again, it has the lineup on the back, so that's kind of cool. The cute little sticker, right? You can put this on your bumper, put it on your guitar case, put it on your fridge. Mine's on my fridge, and obviously the record. So we're asking $35 donation for the album, $50 for the whole package, $20 I think for the shirt on its own. Yada yada yada. You can kind of barter with us if you need to. But more than anything, I just really, really, really hope that as many people as can as possible are able to pick up the record. And if you don't have a record player, it's a good time to get one. Vinyl is in, man. Go to Toontown, get a record player from Carl, and then you can listen to all kinds of albums.
And what if this is afterwards? Like, what if you don't sell 290 records on Saturday?
Well, I had better. Well, you can. We will have some at Toontown, obviously, and you may or may not know this. There's a new record store. There's a new store is store and shop. Kind of got mashed together. Some folks are opening a record store in St. Peter too, and I think they're opening on Black Friday. Maybe the day after. I just got to meet one of the guys. So I'll have some there. You can DM me on the socials if you want, and I can get you a record. As I said, they're mostly going to be in my basement. We'll have some, though, on display, or rather at Toontown, that you can pick up. Probably we'll have them for sale at the Holiday Classic this year. And that's the thing to think about now, too, everybody. We're getting into the gift. It's the season of giving. It's upon us here. So this would make a perfect gift for the music lover and local arts supporter in your life.
Yeah.
Well, I want to extend a pretty genuine thank you for putting me on the show.
Yeah, man.
On the record, I actually played this year's Golden Hour 3 times.
Yeah, you must. So Shoba currently had the record.
Yeah,
he played every year. You, I think, hold the record for it now because. Well, you and I might be tied. I can't remember. I didn't play at all this year, which was sort of a personal move to not be on stage at all this year. It was like, I'm not going to be in it. This is not for me anymore. This is for the town, or for everybody else.
Well,
yeah. So
we appreciate it, and
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, and again, thanks for getting me on. It's kind of short notice here. It was really fun.
We started talking about this last week.
We did.
Jacob, your cameras died, so you said that in darkness. Awesome. Well, thanks, Colin.
Of course. Thank you, guys. And thank you for all you do as well to support the local arts scene. Not to mention, yeah, thank you.